shot do you give the Broncos to win it?
Well, they have a great defense. There's no question about that. You know, their defense is exceptional. I still look at this matchup from the standpoint I would actually be shocked if Denver wins this game.
Really? Wow.
I would be shocked. I think the Patriots, number one, the great strength of the Denver Broncos right now, obviously that defense, man coverage, that's what they do a ton of. And then you look at just that matchup and that pass rush ability that the Broncos have. Well, that's what Kansas City had. And when you have Gronk and you have Edelman in that lineup, Tom Brady gets rid of the ball in 1.6 seconds or 1.7 seconds or 2 seconds. So for me to pass rush you, if you're an offensive lineman and it's a 5-step drop and I beat you clean without you touching me, it takes 1.7 seconds to get the quarterback. If you're consistently getting the ball out of your hands in 1.7 to 2, you're not gonna, it doesn't matter if I beat you clean, you're not getting there. And that's the history of the New England Patriots when Gronk and Edelman are on the field together. So for me, it neutralizes the great strength of the pass rushing ability of the Denver Broncos. And then man coverage is a big part of what the Denver Broncos do. You look at the New England Patriots, they are the master of the rub routes and getting guys open right now, basically picking your players. Everybody in the league does it. It's not illegal unless you get flagged for it, and everybody does it. So I just look at that matchup and the way the defense presents itself to the New England Patriots, and I think they match up really well with what the Broncos do defensively.
And then offensively, you seem to not have much hope for Peyton and company.
Peyton, well, first and foremost, you look at them up front, they've been a mess all season. Now, they played better last weekend against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but their offensive line has been a liability all season long. Then Peyton Manning, you look at what his inability to do. Doesn't have great timing with his receivers right now. Teams are forcing him to throw the ball outside the numbers. Doesn't have great velocity. Every now and then again, the ball comes out of his hands. It's just fluttering like a duck. And, you know, he just has not played well. I think the other issue for Peyton, which was probably one of the first times I've seen this all season, he missed some blitz pickup situations last week. Got hit right in the back by a cat corner blitz that he did not see. There was a couple of things that happened during the course of that game that you looked at and said, normally he covers those warts. Normally he sees them and covers them. He didn't do it last weekend. And offensively, they did not play very well at all during the course of that game. So there's a lot of hurdles they have to overcome. It's in Denver. That defense is great. You create a couple turnovers, you've got an opportunity. But I would be shocked if the Patriots don't win this game.
Stephen A.
So would I. And I think that the Schlereth is absolutely right. You're going to have to make sure that you cause some turnovers because I think Brady's going to be able to move the chains. I think he's going to be able to get rid of the ball quickly. Last time when he didn't have Edelman and Amendola in this particular game, Skip, and Gronkowski got hurt in the fourth quarter, the fact is that the Denver Broncos got 3 sacks on Brady. Von Miller had a sack. Derek Wolfe had a sack. I think that kid Vance Walker had a sack as well. But for the most part, you know, Brady had, I don't want to say a relatively comfortable game, but it wasn't rife with discomfort. So I look at all of those things, and then I think about the fact that they have the weapons that they have available to them now. And, you know, the thing about it is everybody's acting like it's such a big deal because he's not going to run the game. You got to understand that that's right up Brady's alley. Brady doesn't mind throwing the ball 50 times or 50-plus times against anybody if he has all of his requisite weapons because a lot of those things are just quick drop-offs. And so when you look at it from that perspective and you take into account yards after the catch, that's definitely scheduled to work in New England's favor. Then in the offensive side of the ball, again, Schlereth is right. Peyton Manning missed a couple of blitz, got hit pretty sharp, blindsided one time, viciously, I might add. So we got to take that into account. We also got to take into account the fact that the receivers haven't been trustworthy. Vernon Davis has been an absolute no-show over the last couple of games, and his contribution since arriving from San Francisco has been minimal to zero. I mean, you look at what he's been able to do. He's dropping passes. Now he's not getting a ball thrown to him, and then he wasn't even in the lineup for but a few snaps. And so when you look at that, throwing in between the numbers, which is something Peyton Manning likes to do, that's been nullified to some degree. Throwing outside the numbers, that brings into account his arm strength, and so you got to think about these timing routes, and you're going up against a defensive wizard in Bill Belichick, who has competed against Peyton Manning on many, many occasions, very familiar with him and what he likes to do and what he's capable of doing. So you got those timing routes, and they're going to be able to figure those things out. I don't see any way that Denver can win this game unless they run the football not just effectively, but on an elite level. If somehow, some way, Denver with C.J. Anderson and Ronnie Hillman are equipped to accumulate in excess of 175 to 200 yards, I definitely think that could change things, but I don't see that happening in the AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots, regardless of their injuries and what have you. I just don't see that happening. So I definitely see New England winning this game because I think whatever Denver's going to throw at them is something that they'll figure out offensively. And defensively, I don't surmise that they have but so much to worry about against Denver's offense because I think they have too many question marks.
And I, for one, the only one on this panel, am shocked that my Patriots are a 3-point favorite. I said on Monday's show, when I saw that line, I think it opened in some places at 3.5. I was trying to guess the point spread. I thought Denver would be favored by maybe 2 points at home because of that defense and because of the way Peyton played on Sunday, which I thought was very underrated. He did not make a mistake. He did not throw an interception, and he had, whichever it was, 6. I write down the drops. I had him for 7 drops in that game.
Right.
And he threw for 222.
Could have been 9. They didn't chart him.
Okay.
They said 6 officially, but I'm with you.
Okay.
I think it was more than 6.
Thank you. So he could have thrown without a drop for around 300 yards. Pretty good against a Steelers defense that was starting to heat up, especially in its secondary. So now I look at a Tom Brady in Denver, as you well know. It's a house of horrors for him. I don't know why. He's got demons in Denver. For whatever reason, he's played his worst football there in the 2 playoff games by his all-time great standards.
Right.
2 of his worst playoff games have come in Denver. He's 0-2 in the playoffs. In this game, in whatever it was, week 12 on the 29th of November, he was 2 for 13 on 3rd down in that game against that defense. And it is the best in overall efficiency in the National Football League. Now, he didn't have his 2 little chain movers in that game, Edelman and Amendola, just like your little option routes, your little rub routes. That's their running game. They have no running game. They'll just abandon the run game. They had 21 running back yards against Kansas City. I'm with you. I was shocked that Kansas City couldn't take advantage of a New England offensive line that has been in even worse shambles than your Denver offensive line, and you know offensive lines. But this thing has been a patchwork of near disaster the whole year. And down the stretch, they lost 4 of their last 6. They could not protect him. In Miami, they couldn't protect Tom Brady. And then Justin Houston was banged up and couldn't go. I don't know what was wrong. He wasn't right with his knee. So all of a sudden, it turned back into flawless against Kansas City because he wasn't touched until really the 4th quarter of that game. Is that going to happen again? I doubt it because, as Von Miller said, I can get to him in 1 second. If he's going to throw it 1.6, and sometimes he can't. When he spins on somebody, it is about a second before he hits the quarterback. So to me, when I look at the Patriot defense, I keep saying this, but Jamie Collins and Chandler Jones, the 2 best players on the defense, did not finish the game on Saturday. Did not finish. Now, are they going to play? We have no idea, and we probably won't until maybe Saturday or probably game time.
Right.
Okay? What if they don't play? You don't think that's some advantage, Denver? These are studs, man. The best maybe 2 of the best pass rushers, and one of the best cover guys in Jamie Collins. So you can't take advantage of that, Denver? I think you could. So again, I picked the Patriots to win it all before the year starts. I want them to. I'm hoping you guys are right and they win by 21. But I just can't make that case right now.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I mean, but Denver on the defensive side of the ball has some injuries as well. Chris Harris Jr. has been banged up.
He has.
They try to switch to some, you look at them, they try to switch to some zone coverages last week because they've been 90+% man all season long. They try to switch to some zone stuff.
Yep.
They got beat in their zones. Lack of communication. The one thing you have to understand when you're playing defense at home, you have a crowd noise disadvantage. And
true.
You saw them, a team that is primarily man all season long, not be able to communicate on Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers in their zone coverages, and they screwed several of them up and gave up some huge plays to Bryant and the rest of that crew. So, you know, there's a concern there as well. If you're trying to transition to more zone to take away some of those picks and some of those rubs, and you make those mistakes against Tom Brady, who, you know, I would probably agree with you, is the greatest quarterback of all time, he'll take advantage of it.
Yep.
All right, so Vegas and most people at this desk see it as advantage New England. Mark, we asked this earlier in the show. Who deserves more credit for the Pats' success? Is it Bill Belichick or Tom Brady? The results are in. 54% say Brady, 46% say Belichick. You with the people?
I am with the people. As great as Belichick is, and he is great, Brady has done it in a myriad of different ways, whether we want to run the ball, whether we want to throw the ball, whether we want balance, whatever it is, whether my receivers are guys that you can't even name, the Pattons of the world and all these guys, or whether it's Gronk, doesn't matter. He gets it done. You got to have a great quarterback. There's no question about that. And they have one there.
Those Patriots do their job.
Yes.
Hold on. Schlereth, for the record, I just wanted to say nobody's refuting that. Because obviously, I don't care how great of a coach you are. If you don't have a quarterback, you can't get the job done. It's just that simple. But what I was trying to explain to Skip is not so much that people should disagree with that. It's just that sometimes Skip tries to give Tom Brady practically all the credit as if Belichick deserves very little.
Right.
And I'm saying there's something to be said about a great coach that can put all the parts around you, that can manage all of those things, plus the situation, plus the environment, etc. There's a lot to be said about a coach who doesn't screw it up.
Right, Stephen, this is where I think Belichick and his staff are better than any other coaching staff in football. I think the development of players and getting guys ready to play, regardless of where they are on the depth chart. I think what you see now in today's football is you've got your guys who start, your elite superstars. And what happens is because, you know, 20% of the guys make 80% of the money, you stockpile the bottom half of your roster with guys who really can't play. And when they get called upon to play, you know what happens? You get exposed. And in New England, when those guys get called to play, they step up and you're like, who the heck is that guy? That guy's pretty good. Or we can make a reclamation project off of anybody off the street, put him into our system, coach him up, develop him, and all of a sudden he's a great player. That's the beauty of Bill Belichick and his coaching staff and why I think he's the best coach there is in this game, and it's not close.
I'll give you that. I'll give him credit. I'll give him 25% of the credit.
75-25 in our Twitter poll right here with Skip Bayless. Mark, thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
Guys.
Let's talk some college hoops. Ben Simmons is taking college basketball by storm, and some are making lofty comparisons to LeBron James. Our coach, Seth Greenberg, in the house. We need your help here. He's coming over to the desk to tell us if he sees the next